In an act of MMO masochism, Destiny 2 team spends 84 brutal hours locked in a blind run of the Salvation's Edge raid, insisting on the master difficulty I struggle with even after raiding for 10 years. It didn't go well, you could say. This is crazy. I've just been linked this article on Games Radar that is written about my Salvation's Edge run, and I'm very curious what this says, because this is quite a condemning start. Let's see. So, for reasons that seemingly nobody can pinpoint, a Destiny 2 fire team assembled almost entirely from players who have no idea what they're doing spent nearly 85 hours bashing their heads against the wall of the MMO's Salvation's Edge raid on Master difficulty. The captain of this fire team, we're all captains in my heart, was MrRoflWaffles, a streamer and content creator with over 2 million YouTube subscribers. You know, this is funny because up until I started playing Destiny, nobody called me a streamer. Nobody. Despite the fact that I stream zombies every year, I was a YouTuber, bro. Destiny changed me. So, a streamer and content creator with over 2 million YouTube subscribers. On July 6th, he announced his quest and the first people joining him on this dive into the abyss. Today, we are doing Blind Master Salvation's Edge. He pledged, light in his eyes and vigor in his voice. It's 5 blind players and 1 knower, basically, and the knower is not allowed to do anything. If we get to any kind of DPS phase in a boss, the knower has to just sit next to us and cross their arms. We also are using no artifact perks other than the left column, so we can get rid of champs, but all the other stuff here is off, the other stuff on the artifact. That was my initial plan, my proposition for how we were going to do things. The rules are a little messier and more varied than that, but you get the gist, that's true. Almost everyone in this team has no clue what they're doing. The one person that does can't spoil the whole thing, and they're all underpowered. Some of the unaware folks, who rotated as the challenge continued, with many people understandably taking breaks, had barely played Destiny 2 at all before this raid challenge. Avery is the best example of that. Avery had, I think, like 45 hours of game time before jumping into Master Salvation's Edge with us. Insane. Salvation's is generally regarded as one of the tougher raids in Destiny history, with some reasonably arguing that it is the toughest due to the volume of mechanics, some unforgiving encounters, and high potential to wipe the team at almost any moment. RoflWaffles et al. Not only chose to take on this challenge with virtually no prior knowledge, they opted for the master difficulty version of the raid. This significantly increases combat difficulty and DPS demands, so executing the correct strategies is even harder. By extension, this means that figuring things out and testing theories is much more challenging as well. You might spend hours chasing the wrong idea because you haven't been able to fully test it yet. This is very true. The pipeline from like theory crafting to checking off that theory in Master is so much harder, not only because of the combat difficulty, but also because you're in there for so much longer because of the combat difficulty that you get more fatigued. And so you get to Verity and you're already, I think we were like 14 hours in. And that's tough. To start Verity 14 hours in, your brain's fried at that point. So, challenging. I've been raiding regularly in Destiny for over 10 years, and even my clan and I have to really dig in our heels to get master clears after quite some practice, and sometimes we won't even bother at all. It's brutal. Basically, RoflWaffles and the crew sized up the prospect of fighting a lion barehanded and decided, actually, make it 2 lions. In case the 84-hour grind didn't give it away, this went about as you'd expect. The run stands as a quintessential grab bag of classic raiding tropes, correct ideas being ignored by the group, easy misunderstandings leading to hours of mistakes, simple mechanics being overthought to the nth degree, that's me, and a spiral of exhaustion leading to worse and worse play. That is very true. Yet, despite it all, they did it. I'm not calling these raiders bad at the game or at puzzles. There are some legendary throws in here, but the run is a commendable effort. Thank you. Salvations is just really, really obtuse and demanding. The raid is home to a few notorious walls, progress blockers that derailed the initial contest mode world first race, and have added hours to countless raid attempts since. The first encounter took this team just over 7 hours, and surprisingly, the second encounter was about the same. The surprisingly here is because of the fact that I've been told the second encounter for contest was like a massive blocker for people, but we cleared it, relatively speaking, pretty efficiently, I think. They found a rhythm, dinners scarfed down, and Microsoft Paint diagrams flying. Where's my mic? Oh, it just linked to the word Microsoft. Okay, interesting. And cleared the third encounter around 27 hours in. Then they got to Verity. Verity is a puzzle encounter so temperamental that it practically single-handedly killed Salvation's Edge as an LFG viable encounter. Speaking as the go-to Verity solver for my group, you basically have to share sequences of shapes between 2 teams of 3 and then manipulate those shapes to match a key code. To put it mildly, it was a whopper of a blocker for RoflWaffles. To put it less mildly, each time I saw an update post on this team still being Verity, I physically winced. Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here, our leader says at the start of a separate stream VOD with significantly less light in his eyes and vigor in his voice. We are 51 hours in. The wall of Verity stood strong until the 58-hour mark when a miracle clutch finally got the team out. Give Lynn her credit. Give Lynn her credit. Lynn cooked the pizza. Lynn's clutch was so insane. Bro, we were in the room. She was like, I cannot physically do this in 10 seconds. It's literally impossible. She speed ran for 9 seconds, and then she flung herself and used her jump momentum to carry her through the wall as she was turning to stone so that she would land as stone on the other side and be broken. It was crazy. She cooked. Yes, truly a miracle clutch. Big ups to Lynn. From there, it was on to the witness himself, who tacked on another 25 hours or so. I have to admit, it's kind of gratifying to see this team struggle with the same stuff we did when the final shape first launched and this raid was fresh. Balancing enemy clear with mechanics, dodging the witness's attacks, rationing ammo, budgeting revive tokens. Especially this. I mean, I think the witness fight is a revive check. Because it's actually really clearable if you just don't die. Which sounds like it would be obvious for all raids, but especially in the witness, especially. It's classic Destiny 2 raiding, dialed up through absurd, self-imposed challenges. Finally, the witness fell. We finally did it. Master Salvation's Edge is done, RoflWaffles declared. It took so long that all emotions left my body, all thoughts, all agency, all sentience. I am simply a husk, a shell, totally empty, but we did it. There were a lot of mistakes, misunderstandings, and team changes along the way, but the accomplishment remains. I tried so hard to make this blind raid event as fun as I possibly could, and while I don't think it was perfect by any means, and losing a ton of our blind players by the end meant that the dynamic was way different, I still hope that on the whole, it was a really fun watch for you all. RoflWaffles concludes. How cool to have a little article written about this. Like, that's awesome, man. So thank you, Austin Wood, for writing this article. I have to say, it is, I think, one of my proudest gaming achievements. And yet it's also one of the ones that I've received the most hate for. And it's really, it sucked on the day, and it's just getting worse for me, to be honest. So like, it's nice to have an article like this, which is basically saying they tried this and it was a real mess, but it was still good fun. Like this is nice to read, because I am so emotionally worn out. I'm so worn out, to be honest. So I'm glad, by the sounds of it, Austin, despite the fact that you were wincing a little bit when we were in Verity, I'm glad that you enjoyed it for what it was. And I really tried, like I said, to just to put on the best event I could. I really tried. Also, actually, it's worth saying, the reason is, right? Because if nobody can pinpoint it, maybe this is worth some elaboration. The reason is, in Destiny, the base level version of the raids don't challenge me enough to be so enthralling and entrancing and mesmerizing that I will remember them for the rest of my life. The base version. That's why I love the idea of contest. That's why I keep imposing all these restrictions. And my team agrees, right? It's not just me. A lot of people are like, Milo this, Milo that. But the rest of the team also likes the challenge. Like, we did, like, Garden with Bog, right? And we got to the end, and Bog has done everything that you can do in Destiny, right? Like, Bog is so seasoned at this point. And he was like, bro, this felt like a day one, and it's like one of my favorite raid experiences ever. And like, I think all the others were saying the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure Onpam said the same thing. Like, for the knowers and the blind players, the challenge is an accelerant to the fun that we are having. As much as that is, like, when I see a challenge, I don't think that's no fun. I think that's more fun, because it's more of a challenge that I have to rise to. Do you know what I mean? So those, in case anyone at home listening right now is curious, that's why. That's why. And that's why I got frustrated at the end, because I'd cooked up this challenge, which I think sounds awesome. I think this sounds like an awesome challenge, and it was just unfortunate that I didn't plan well enough to get enough blind players for the length of event that it was actually going to end up being, because I thought it would end up going 48 hours. I was not planning for 84. And so then we had to change the rules at the end, and I was just sad that we were having to change the rules, because I was so attached to this plan, because I thought it was so fun. That's all. So yeah. But yeah, the flack that I've gotten since has really put me off everything. So that's where I'm at. See you on the edge of fate, folks. Bye.